rebuilding. A catastrophic failure, a new start. Physically, mentally, our careers, our businesses. Step back, first step, next step. The driver in me just wants to get it done tomorrow. We'll do this, do that, let's move this, where are we at with this? You build some confidence, build some self-esteem, start to feel better about yourself. The Silverback Blueprint Podcast, a show for men over 40 who focus on getting stronger, staying motivated, building discipline, creating a community, and becoming truly happy. Hey guys, and welcome to episode number 62. How's 2018 working out for you? Today's podcast, I want to really delve into exactly that. You know what? At this point, we'll be a month into 2018. I believe this podcast is dropping February 1st, 2018. We're recording it end of November. So we always try to have a bunch of podcasts in the pipe, if you will, so that we can make sure that they always come out Mondays and Thursdays for you guys. That's something like 4 a.m. in the morning or 3:37 or some crazy shit. I don't know what's going on with that. But that's really something that's important to us, is that we stay consistent, so that Mondays and Thursdays, you guys can set your clocks by it. Sorry, honey, I can't take the kids. The next podcast is dropping on Monday. You know how it is. And she's like, oh, I understand. That kind of thing. So super important. So here we are, February 1st, a month into 2018. And it's exactly that. How is 2018 working out for you guys so far? And I'll tell you right now, for 90% of you, it's not working out. 90+% of any New Year's resolution that we get so excited about, we're a little liquored up, New Year's Eve, and I've been there, the last 4 I haven't, but the first 45 I have, been that guy who's drunk on New Year's Eve, and this is the year I'm going to change everything, and this is going to be different, and Eye of the Tiger, and I'll show her, and all that stupid shit, right? Again, though, statistically proven over and over again, 90+% of any New Year's resolution is broken. In fact, the majority of them don't even make it out the first 10 days of January. I'm not going to lie. I think I made that up a little bit, but there is a stat out there. We should, someday as our podcast gets bigger and I actually have a research team, we'll actually come up with real facts and figures. But trust me, guys, if you Google it right now and sit there and say, a New Year's resolution, broken date-wise, time in, it's something statistically mind-blowing that within the first 7 to 10 days, the resolutions are broken. Right? And there's a reason for that, guys. A few of them. The biggest one, I believe, is that it's not a big enough why. The reason that you're sitting there is not a big enough reason. It doesn't mean enough for you. It's not exciting. It's not scary. We sometimes will avoid the real thing that we want to do, because deep down inside, we know what we want to do. We know there's certain things we love about ourselves, and there's certain things we don't like at all about ourselves, right? But we're often afraid to look at that beast, to stare into that abyss, as they say. So a big reason why we don't stick to them is because we haven't made them big enough. The why. We talk about this a lot in goal setting and in our programs at Hostile. What is your why? And the bigger your why, the deeper the why. The why, the more emotional that why is, the greater your chances for success is seeing that through. Because that's the stuff that's going to get you through on the Thursday when you just don't feel like it, right? Oh, it's cold out because it's snowing. We're up here in Canada where it's snow, right? Not 10 months of the year like a lot of people around the world think, right? But for 10 weeks of the year, we've got lots of snow as a rule. You need to be highly motivated to want to leave the house at 6:30 at night to come train at 7 when it's dark. You've been home for a couple hours already. There's a couple feet of snow and it's a little slushy. You need a big why, because normal mental physiologicalness will just say, hey, stay inside, cocoon under the covers, right? And stay where it's warm and cozy. It's not a normal thing to want to go out into the great unknown, when it's not nice out, right? And especially because we're just not accustomed to working hard. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is that we didn't create a real concrete plan. So we need to figure out, what is it that we truly want to do? What's the one thing that we really want to change about ourselves this year? And that's another mistake we get into, is that we have too many things, because Lord knows there's always a list, right? So let's find that one thing, the big why, the one thing that really means a lot to you, that, like I said earlier, scares you, motivates you, you're emotional about. Once you know what that is, you need to create a plan. Because if you don't create a plan, motivation alone is only going to take you so far. And even if that's a high level of motivation, you're going to get to the gym. Let's say it's to make a physiological change, or you're going to get to that class, or you're going to get to that, you've always wanted to finish this degree or whatever it is, right? Motivation is going to get you so far along the line. But if you don't have a reason to do it, hey, I'm taking this course online. Well, I fucking guarantee you're not going to finish it, right? Because you haven't made a specific enough plan. And if you have a specific enough plan, right, then you're going to have benchmarks, you're going to have dates, you're going to have reasons. We talk about it all the time when we get people starting powerlifting, and we're always trying to get people, once they come in and want to learn how to squat, bench, or deadlift, we're always trying to get them to compete as soon as possible, within reason, if they're prepared physically, right? And the reason being is that we know the moment we sign up for a powerlifting meet, our training goes to the next level. We work harder, we're more consistent, right? We show up more often because it matters. There's a reason, there's a date, there's a line in the sand. Until we do that, we don't get the same kind of grind out of our bodies. No one I've met who we got to compete for the first time convinced them, motivated them, and made them understand and made them believe that they can do it because they want to, but they don't think they can do it. Once we got past that and they've actually competed, not one person that I've ever had that experience with has ever come back and not said the following: I wish I would have done this so much sooner. I wish I would have done this years ago. I wish I would have done this last year. Because they quickly realize that the journey was something special. The day was super special. The sense of accomplishment of seeing something through was phenomenal. Had so much value to it. We talked about that a few episodes ago. We talked about just getting things done, completing stuff, right? There's a lot to be said for the completion. I'm just looking back to see what episode it is. Where is it here? Go after it. Get after it. Episode 58. We talked about it. Get after it. Finalize something. Finish something. See something to the end. Super, super important. So we talked about the why being big enough. We talked about not having a concrete plan. The other thing that I see happens a lot is we go the other extreme. We set up some crazy fucking goals, right? 80 pounds overweight, and you're like, I want to compete on the bodybuilding stage in 2018. That's a big fucking goal if you're 80 pounds overweight. That's a big goal if you haven't been in the gym in months, years, ever. I think it's admirable, and I love it as a goal, but we need to set some goals along the way. We need to have some shorter-term goals that are super important, part of your why, so that we have light at the end of the tunnel. We have dates that are approaching fast enough that everything matters, every meal matters, every workout matters. But then also, if we sit there and say, you know what I'd like to do, and the more complete this goal is and the visualization behind it, the why, I'd like to lose 80 pounds in 2018 so that I can go to my next goal, which would be to someday in 2019, get on the bodybuilding stage and compete in something I've always wanted to do, right? That's a lot more complex. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot more visual to it. You can see it. You can feel it. But now you've got some other things along the way that as you're losing that 80 pounds, you celebrate every 10 pounds. You celebrate every 20 pounds. Well, those things are going to happen along the way, and each one of those successes is going to build momentum and give you more motivation, right? And give you the confidence. Say, hey, I've lost 30. I'm going to lose 10 more. So that by the time you've lost that 80, right, the next goal of going to, let's say, the bodybuilding stage, if that's what you want to do, right, or booking your own photo shoot or whatever it is, you're a lot more confident about it because you're a lot closer to it and you've had success. You can look back and see all the successes. And along the way, achieving those goals, you'll be different. The world around you will be different. So those are dramatic changes that make a huge difference. Your mindset will be better. Your sense of accomplishment will be better. You'll be inspirations to other an inspiration to other people. People will look at you. You'll have more energy. You'll feel better. That's going to affect your life, your relationships, your work, your job, your career, your business, right? That's the collateral stuff that we really don't realize how much of an effect it has until we go through it. So if your goal is too big, then you always got that, I've got time. 2018, well, that's 365 days. I've got 11 and a half months before I have to compete. Then next thing you know, I got 9.5 months. I have 6.5 months. 3.5 months. And who's kidding who? By the time you're within that, you're not going to do it because you didn't even move on that 80 pounds. You lost a few, you gained a few. Right? You set yourself up for failure. And this happens time in and time again. Look back, guys. If you're listening to this podcast, odds are you're over 40, you're 50, you're 60, 70, 101. How many New Year's Eves have come and gone where you said this to yourself and you didn't get where you were going? More often than not. But then when you see that and then you make some changes, or if you run into someone who's made significant changes, who's achieved a high level of success in 1, 2, or 3 areas or all areas of life, whether they did it all through their life or they did it in the later part of their life, or they turned things around and they do it now, they're going to tell you the same thing. They're going to tell you just what we talked about here. It's about having a very important why. It's about having a concrete plan. And it's about setting a goals along the way that are, that are doable, that are uncomfortable, but they're not so big that they're so far away that, you're out of touch with reality. You can't taste and feel it. You don't have the pressure of that goal on you because it's so far away. Talk to them about it. Talk to people that have achieved some amazing things. Talk to people that have achieved things that you want to do and ask them these questions about how they did it. And they're going to have the same response because that's how it works. None of it's easy, but that's how it works. It doesn't change the fact that's how it works, right? So how are some ways to fix that? How are some ways that we can turn that around and we can do a better job for the balance of 2018? So let's say, it's February 1st. We just caught you. January didn't go the way you want. Well, you still have 11 months. Well, what you do, guys, is you sit down, you take a piece of paper, and you take some time and some quiet, and you think about it. What is it that you really want to change? What is it that you really want to achieve? What is a very important why? Not just to lose 10 pounds, but to lose 30 pounds because in 6 months you've booked a trip to go to Europe and you want to look good when you're over there. Or you have a family reunion coming up, or a wedding's coming up, right? Or there's a big get together, or there's a sporting event, or you have your own event that you want to do. Find out what that is. Write that down and look at it. And what does it feel like? And what's it going to feel like that day when you get there? What's it going to feel like when you're at that wedding and you've lost 30 pounds, you're wearing that outfit? I was going to say dress. I'm like, well, guys, if you want to wear a dress, that's okay for you Silverbacks, right? But what's it going to be like that typically every Christmas and every New Year's Eve, right, you're fighting with your clothes because they don't fit right because you gain another 5 or 10 pounds, right? And you go through that emotional shit where you're trying to find something that fits and that looks good, right? We've all been there. We all know what that feels like. Visualize what it'll feel like to turn around and put on a pair of pants 3 sizes smaller and they're not even snug. They fit properly. In fact, you've lost so much weight that you went and got a suit or a new jacket and it fits good and it looks good. And when you put it on, you feel good. And when you walk into that room and people haven't seen you in a year and they see that you're down, not just 30 pounds, but that you're wearing a sharper outfit, but that you're sharper. You're sharper on the inside. You know what? People are going to be talking to you. And all you're going to hear about is, oh my God, you've changed. I can't believe how much I didn't recognize you. Dude, that's a rush. But visualize that because that can't help but be pleasing, right? But the more you can see it, the more you can visualize it, the more you can sit there and know what it smells like and it feels like and it tastes like. And you remind yourself that on the days where you don't want to get off the couch, right? Where the guys are trying to get you to go watch the game at the bar and you're like, you know what? It's late night. Those are the things you need to look at. Those are the things you need to focus on. Look at your plan, right? Evaluate. Is it to lose weight? Then you should be weighing in every week. Is it to lose weight? Then you should be journaling your food. You should be doing food prep. Those are all the systems that work. And if the weeks that you don't do it, it doesn't happen, right? When you've made that lifestyle change and it's been 10 years and you're really good at it, you can eyeball a bunch of shit. But even those guys that have lost a lot of weight, those guys that are in really good shape, when they decide they want to compete again, let's say in bodybuilding, even though they've got their stuff 95% dialed in, they're going to step it up a notch. And they're going to do even better because they're almost there anyway, but they're also really good at doing the ticks. Don't use the ticks. They've got the tips and tricks. They've got the know-how. They have the skill set. They have the tools. They're already actively using them. They spend so much time in them that it's very natural for them. So what looks easy to them, and you're that idiot, oh, this is easy for you. You know, you've never been overweight. Bullshit. It's not easy for them. They put the work in. They master it, so it looks easy. Nothing annoys me more than when I'm warming up on the bench press and I warm up at 275 or 315 in my first set and I'm doing 10 to 20 reps. And I always hear some guy, oh, it must be easy for him. You know, he's a big guy. It was always easy. Well, you know, motherfucker, they weren't there when I was, 19 years old, 240 pounds off the farm, and I couldn't even bench 70 pounds because I didn't know how. No one sees that time in. That's why it's all about guys being ready to do the stuff when no one's fucking looking. Right? That's the stuff that's going to get you the results. Put 25 years into it. I'm a pretty good bencher, but I put 25 plus years into it. And even now in the last 3 years at 49, stronger than ever, it's because I made a purposeful decision 3 years ago to get back into competing, but not just competing, but to achieve the goals that I wanted. I always wanted to bench 500. Deep down, I've always wanted to bench 600 raw in the meat, right? I made the mistake of saying, yeah, I want to hit 600. So for the first year back, I trained, and I would hit 5-something, 510, 515, boom, 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 right? Not bad, but I wasn't progressing. So I sat down and said, you know what? Next goal, next meet, 525. In the back of my mind, yes, 600, but you know what? Next meet, 525. And you know what happened the next meet? I got that 525 because it was 10 pounds more than my last meet. It was doable. It was attainable. It was something I could see, and I had to work really hard, but it was right there in front of me. And when I hit 525, the next goal became 540. And then when I hit that 540, the next goal became 550. So if we look at 2017, right, the end of 2016 into 2017, so just over a year from today, in February 2018, I went from doing 505 to hitting a 550 April of 2016, just missing a 565. And now my goal is, hopefully I would have hit it by now, is a 575. And then once I hit that 575, it's 600. But now, from 575 to 600, it's only a 25-pound goal. Now, that's a lot of work, guys. It's exponential. It's crazy the work I have to do and the focus and the consistency. But I'm only 25 pounds away now. Whereas a year and a half ago, I was 85 pounds away, but I still had that 600-pound goal. So it's breaking it down and having smaller goals closer to what I can do, but require a lot of hard work because I know I'm almost there. So having that plan, having a more realistic set of goals, but your goals should still scare you a little bit. In fact, if some of your whys aren't big enough that they don't scare you, they're not big enough, right? They need to be emotional. They need to sit there and stir you, to motivate you, scare you, excite you all at the same time. If they don't, then you're not going to lose the 10 pounds. But if you say, I want to lose 50 pounds and I want to be able to run in a marathon in Boston, right? And you're already a runner, you can do that. In fact, everything you do along the way will get you closer and closer to it. As you lose 5 pounds at a time towards that 30, you're going to be a better runner because you're lighter. You got rid of a lot of waste, a lot of excess baggage that does nothing but weigh you down, right? And then you got fitter and you got more confident. So you had some smaller goals into a bigger goal, but those are big goals, right? So you need to have a large, strong, emotional, powerful why. What does it mean to if you achieve this goal? We talk about weight loss, we talk about strength gain because that's where we're at, right? But maybe it's to increase your income $25,000 a year. But if you're making $20,000 a year, increasing it by 25 more, that seems insurmountable because it's more than 100%. So why not start off, hey, I want to make an extra $5,000 a year. Well, what does that look like, right? Well, that's an extra $100 a week. So $5,000 sounds scary, but $100 a week isn't that scary. So $100 a week, how many hours a week is that at $15 an hour? Because if you're making 20, that's kind of what you're, making along the way, right? If you're making 50,000 and you want to make 75,000, right? Well, that's $25 an hour. So you want to boost that to $30 an hour. What's the number? Break it down, reverse engineer it. What does it look on a year basis, a monthly basis, a weekly basis, a daily basis, an hourly basis? And then you sit there and say, okay, I need to go from making $20 an hour to $25 an hour. What can I do? What is my skill set? What's missing in my skill set to go from 20 to 25? Maybe it's taking one more course so at your work you can get a bump in pay because you have another level in welding or a mechanic. Or I don't know your shit that you're into, but most often that's how these things work, right? So you can sit there and piss and moan going, I wish I made extra money. I wish I made the money my neighbor makes because he's always gone and he's got a boat, right? But you don't know what he's doing. You just see the outside. Maybe he's fucking mortgaged to the hilt, and that's why he's got that boat. And, in 6 months from now, it's going to get repoed. Who knows? But rather than worry about what your neighbor's doing, if you truly want that, if you truly want to go on vacation and you truly want to make that happen, any vacation you want to go do within reason, if you put $50 a week away, that's $2,500 a year. That's a pretty fucking nice vacation, right? It's about having that plan. What's the why? Create a plan and then put it into action overall, right? At the end of the day, guys, we have to sit down, we have to focus, we have to come up with what is it we really want to do, and then we have to put a plan together. Now, sometimes you know what you want to do, and you know you need a plan, but you don't know how to do that. And that's very normal, and that's a scary thing too. Well, you know what? Go out and find a coach. There's life coaches, there's business coaches, there's career coaches, we're strength and conditioning coaches, right? That's what we do. That's our whole reason for doing what we do at Hostile is to help men and women over 40 rebuild their lives, create the life they want, become the person they really want to be from the inside out. So we always say, you know what, you show up, we'll give you the tools, we'll make it an environment that's positive and motivating, but you're still going to have to do the work. But it's a lot easier than sitting there and knowing you want to do something, not having a clue how to get there, and then just sit there pissing and moaning about it, and next year go, oh, another year I didn't get what I want. Because that becomes our cop-out as well. Well, what's the use of making resolutions because I never get them? Well, they're not going to magically be bestowed upon you. You got to get the fuck up. You got to figure out what it is. You got to put the plan together, and once you have that plan, you got to work your plan. And guys, it all comes down to the simple fact is work hard, motherfuckers. Guys, that's it for today. Head on over to iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review. It helps us out a lot. Head on over to hostilegear.com. Use the code Silverback to get 20% off a kick-ass hoodie. Or I almost said smoothie like we're in a gym. We don't sell smoothies. By the time you get it in the mail, I don't know how good that would be. But 20% off on hoodies, killer t-shirts, badassery all the way around. And I'll talk to you guys later.